Um, just to start off, just a tad about myself real quick. Like I said, I just joined Buck The Quo's uh, team, and Jordan and I actually work together, obviously. So I'm super excited to get started with her. And Jordan, why don't you just kick it off? Tell us just a little bit about yourself and your career path.
Yeah. You're doing a great job, by the way.
Okay, thank you. I
VJ,
appreciate it.
VJ is new to our team, and we threw him into the deep end with asking him to interview me this week, and he willingly accepted. So we thought this would be kind of fun. I am obviously a blonde female, 35 years old. I have been working in marketing and advertising for, God, 7, 8 years now, I think. But that was not what I started out doing after high school. Um, so yeah, I actually got a degree in nursing after high school, and I practiced nursing for 7 years and then got into advertising.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. And so you obviously started out in a career that was 100 degrees 80 or 100 degrees, different than what we are doing now. And I actually have similar, but
Yeah.
what was it that talk a little bit about that. What was it that was that driving factor to make you change? And then were you as motivated when you started in nursing, and were you pretty gung ho about that and wanting to do that as a career, or what was it that changed?
So like, I don't know. In high school, like I had friends that were going into nursing, and I always loved science and math. And my mom really just was kind of pushing me to go into nursing. Like you'll always have a career.
Right.
It's be needed. And so it was just kind of like handed to me, and it was easy, and I
Mhm.
just went along with it. And I loved it. I loved the relationships that I got to build with my patients. I was mainly like an orthopedic nurse, so I worked on the orthopedic floor in the hospital, and then I worked in California for 2 years at Scripps Rehab Hospital. So like patients that would have like bilateral knee replacements, they'd be there for like a month. So I'd really get to know my patients, and some of them I actually still keep in touch with today. And advertising and marketing, it came it just kind of fell in my lap. I've always loved being creative. I have a pretty strong creative side. And whenever I moved back from California to Arkansas, I randomly met this guy who ran a medical marketing and advertising firm.
Mhm.
So he needed someone that was trained as a medical person that could, make sure all the terminology was correct and for all the medical stuff. And I happened to be really organized and get it done type of person. So
Right.
um, yeah, it worked out really well. And then from there, after I couldn't really grow anymore, I went to work for what I call a real agency,
Mhm.
which is now Y&R. And then we moved to Idaho, and I was lucky enough to get to go to work for Dre Cooper, and it's the best job I've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. Real quick, actually, I just want to say what's up. Avery MC 29, Real Slim Schwartzy, and Alex the Cookie 95, and Madeline Pierre just joined. So hello, what's up? So couple points there I want to talk about. So we have very similar kind of paths, just different careers. So um,
Talk about
do,
yours.
what's that?
Talk about yours.
Yeah, so mine is, and then Kalista also joined. What's up? So what I said was similar for those who are listening. Um,
And you better
George,
be listening.
what's that?
I said, and you better be listening.
Yeah. So Jordan started out in the medical field out of college. She kind of, like she said, she had it kind of just, given to her in the sense that her family was in her. And that's kind of what happened to me. My family is all law enforcement locally here in Idaho. And my degree was in criminal justice, 4-year degree. And that's what I ended up doing out of school. And then kind of like Jordan was kind of aware that, it was, while it was a really fun career and the people you got to work with and things you got to see are unlike anything. And I was only 21, so you can imagine the things that I was doing and seeing were pretty awesome. Not a lot of people that age get to do, or at any age. But there was always this creative bug inside my head, whether it's music or advertising, marketing. And I never worked a job, and I kind of just made the decision to do it and got into my first agency, which was like yours, Jordan, a very niche market. It was not a general all industries. It was very focused on one. And while that was very helpful and has helped me out, obviously, as especially in this job at Drake Cooper, I was always looking for that next level of an agency that was more well established and did all different industries. So very, very similar career paths. Also, we have Whit McKnight just joined. What's up? Bree Seymour. Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Hey.
Also, everybody, if you have questions,
Yeah.
feel free to send those in the comments, because I guarantee your questions are probably a lot better than mine. So please shoot away, and we'll actually just prioritize. Yeah, and we're giving away swag to those who ask questions, and we much rather have your questions than mine, so it'll be more entertaining. So, so Jordan, just out of curiosity, I want to kind of, because this is for people kind of figuring out, where they want to go and what they want to do. So you think I just want to confirm so people can hear it from someone other than me. It's totally fine to switch careers at any point, no matter what your degree is and whatever makes you happy, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's scary, but I mean, it's really odd. Like, I guess I am an adult now at 35 years old. I certainly don't feel like an adult. And like people that have one career path for their entire lives, like it actually now just kind of blows my mind.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Because like, how are you supposed to know exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're 18?
Right.
I feel like that's nuts. And you don't really grow into yourself until I feel like your 20s.
Yeah.
And, what I was really passionate about, at 18, 19, 20, is not what I'm passionate about now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a great point. Obviously, if you're, coming out of college and you found a career that's already it and you found your love, obviously stick with that. But you're right. It blows my mind, because there's people, I mean, my own family, there's people who have stayed in the same career for 30 plus years. And they've, they've enjoyed it and they wouldn't change it for the world. So first question, what is it about Drake Cooper that makes your job so great? And would you ever want to go back into something with healthcare?
What makes my job so great? I love agency. I love the agency world, but what makes my job so great are my clients. I get to work with the Albertsons Foundation and help support awareness initiatives and programs that they give grants to, and help organizations like Teach for America Idaho grow, and work with Idaho Ed News. That's I've learned so much about the world of education, and I care so much more about education than I did before. And I learn so much every day from my clients. I get to work with Mission 43, which is like the coolest program. And yeah, it's really the clients and the work that I get to do. It's just really fulfilling. Yeah. And Drake Cooper itself is just a really badass agency to work for. Everybody there is like super cool. I feel like I'm like the nerdy odd one out because everyone's so creative and musical and artsy, and I'm over here with my lists and trying to get stuff done.
Yeah. Well, you win. I don't know if people saw, you win by having one of the cutest dogs that I've seen. So
Yeah.
that's a
Hendrix,
plus.
you want to say
Also,
hi?
I just want to say what's up to Easton joined and Thirsty Wing. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. Please ask questions if you have any. Feel free just to send them away. And there's Hendrix right there, the famous dog.
Say hi. You say hi, Paul? You Paul? No? Okay.
So next question. Just out of curiosity for everybody who's listening, how old were you when you got your first job? And what did you learn in all those past jobs before Dre Cooper that helped you in your current one and just life in general?
So my first job was actually at my mom's flower shop when I was, God, I don't know. Actually, even before that, I worked at my Uncle Neil's nursery and landscaping business. But my mom opened a flower shop, and I started working there when I was about 13, 14. I couldn't get a real job because I danced competitively and had to have practices at really late hours. And so I worked on the weekends and after school at the flower shop. And I learned that work is hard, and I didn't want to do physical labor for the rest of my life. I definitely learned that. And then after that, when I went off to college, I got a job in medical records at the hospital and scanning in past medical records into their new digital system.
Right.
Keep in mind, this was back in 2006,
right.
2005. So, what I learned through all of my jobs is to ask questions and to be curious and to, I don't know, hard. If you work hard and you prove that you are always trying, like failing is part of it, and you just got going. In the beginning, especially once I transitioned over into the marketing world, there were a lot of times where I didn't have the answers, or I probably could have done something better, and I would beat myself up over it. It's just made me better.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge point. Making mistakes. I mean, I cannot obviously don't make any, dangerous mistakes, but making mistakes in your career and your life in college and high school and whatever it is, you can't grow. What's that?
It's part of life.
Yeah, totally. So first thing from Priya, she says, so cute. Hi, Hendrix. So there's some love to Hendrix. We got a really good question here, though, from Avery MC29. They asked, what would your advice be for someone in a situation like me where they are going into their senior year of high school and have multiple options of what path to take after school? So I'm assuming they could either go to college, have jobs, maybe. Any advice? I mean, hey, that's really good. So Avery, you're doing something right. So that's awesome. But any advice to that?
I would, I don't know if advice would be, I guess I can shed some advice. Don't feel like you have to rush to do anything. Like, take a gap year, do some apprenticeships, and like really get into those paths that you're seriously considering. You don't have to go to college right after high school. Take a gap year to help you learn more about those things that you think you're interested in. But plan it out, like really plan it out. Okay, January through March, I'm going to dive really deep into medicine and get all of my knowledge that I can there through an apprenticeship or a shadowing program. And then the next 3 months, focus on something else. And then that'll give yourself some time to really figure out, okay, is this what I want to do, or do I want to do something different? And then you're not investing thousands of dollars in an education that you're not going to use.
Yeah, so Avery, super good point Jordan makes. Take some time and do an internship in a certain field that you think you might be interested in. That's what I did. Um, in a lot of my past jobs was, yep, do an internship or whatever they have available, or just meet someone in that industry or that career field and really figure out if it's something you like. So great question. Appreciate the question and keep sending them people if you have them. Uh, Jordan, another question for you. So you've had, one big career change. But you kind of mentioned before in your answer that sometimes it can be kind of hard. It's kind of taxing and can kind of shake up your life. What advice you have for people who maybe are going to make a career change? Was it harder than you thought? Was it easier? Did you learn from it? Do you feel happy? Do you ever look back at all?
No, I don't ever look back. But that's just kind of my personality.
Yeah,
I am a look forward type of person, learn from your mistakes and move on.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, it was hard, but in a good way. I don't really know any other way to describe it. Like, I think because I love learning so much, and there's always stuff that to learn. Like, I almost have trouble keeping up with how fast paced the world of media and social media, and I mean, all of that is changing constantly. And I am a huge learner.
mhm,
I thrive on learning more. So yeah, it was challenging, but in a good way. Like, I
yeah,
enjoyed it.
totally. Sweet. Uh, if we're gonna throw a fun, well, first of all, Boise State 18, what's up? Welcome. And I believe Lorraine at Will.
Oh,
What's
that's
going
my
on?
mom.
That's
Hi,
your mom.
mom.
Okay. Sweet. We got mom in here representing. Um, so no more crazy stories. You can't say any of those anymore.
We're
Dismissed
cursing.
all those. Um, so just a general question for everybody in here, Jordan, if you can help answer. What is your biggest, and I'm gonna make it one piece of advice you have for people who are just getting out of college, kind of similar to the last question we had. Um, but what's your biggest piece of advice for someone entering the workforce or college?
Save money.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
that. That's my biggest piece of
money.
advice too. Yep, save
Life,
money.
life is expensive, and if you don't get in the habit young, or like right when you start making money, setting aside that 20 or 30% that is recommended, it's really hard to let go of later.
Yeah,
Uh, so save your money.
perfect. That's the best advice you'll probably hear all day. So I agree with that. Fun question. Just want to throw it in here. Is there any
Yeah.
other job, dream job, or something if you could just do for a day, just to see what it's like, experience it? Is there anything you would do?
Music production. We talked
Music
about.
production. We did talk about that. Yeah, I think we have the same dream there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Boise State 18 says, I'm actually starting my new job tomorrow.
Oh,
So
sweet. What
Boise
are you
State,
going to be
yeah, what industry and what are you going to be doing? Don't have to give any specific details if you don't want, but
doing? What's your age, name, social security number?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kidding.
Um, we'll wait for them to respond. Hopefully they do. But
Vijay, I have a question for you. I
yes,
have a twisty thing in my hand. Um, what would what was the hardest part about transitioning over from law enforcement into advertising, or was there a hard part?
yeah,
Like,
no, there was specific things for sure. Like the number one thing I would say, this kind of goes to your answer about making sure that you don't necessarily rush into something. Not that I felt like I rushed in at all, but my degree, my training, all my education was all related to that field. Just that was the one thing I wanted to do. And
mhm.
so I learned a lot of valuable skills that can be useful, but the very technical ones, like I know we were talking about Excel. I had never used Excel before my last, uh, agency job. So just, try to educate yourself and try to, be well versed in many different areas because that was the one thing that I thought was going to be a big struggle. And I feel like it kind of did because if you send a resume in they're looking for marketing, Google ads, Facebook ads. When you have, that you can operate a vehicle at high speeds, there's not much of that you're going to be doing in the advertising world. So,
Do
yeah.
you wish that you would have gotten like a more general degree? I do. That's like
Uh,
my biggest regret is
yeah.
I would have gotten just a regular, like good old business or marketing or something that could cross over into several different career paths.
Yeah, so this is a huge topic in Boise State. I'm going to get to your response here in 1 second, but this is a really important. You hear this now. People are saying, "Oh, you don't need a degree, or you do need a degree. You only need one if you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor." But I think just depending on what you want to do, it helped me just having a general criminal justice degree, even though it's not marketing, because most of the jobs now that we look at require some form of higher education than high school. And it's good to just always keep that in the back of your mind. Now, of course, trade school and all those other different things, perfectly viable options if you love that field. Obviously, it just all comes back to what you love to do and what you want to do. So take that. So Boise State says, I'm a high school right now, so it's just a fast food job for me right now, which is totally fine because that is a perfect place to start learning simple things. I'm sure you already have a good work ethic and all those things, but responsibility and learning okay, so this is a really important point. And Jordan, I know you're going to agree with this, but communication in most jobs is absolutely key. So Boise State 18, really work on your communication skills. You'll be surprised that whenever job you go into later in your life, verbal and nonverbal, it's really important. And you'll learn that, especially in a service industry job. We've all done it. I've worked retail throughout high school and college, so your communication is key.
Communication and customer service skills. I feel like customer service skills are like just something that you can take into any job and it be a positive.
Yep. If you can, yeah.
I was washing buckets at 14, 15, 16 years old. Like in the back of a flower shop soaking wet and then having to answer the phones for people placing orders for flowers and being able to not multitask but switch from one task to another like pretty easily and pick up where you left off. I feel like that's a really great skill to have no matter what industry or field of work you go into.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just absorb as much as you can, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that you can learn just from any job, whether it's part-time or whatever it is. So great question. Boise State says, thank you. It helps a lot. We're glad that we could help. Question for both of us. What do you do with, what do you do with Buck the Quo, and what do you like about it most?
Stuff like this. This is fun. Like getting to help teenagers or young adults like understand that life isn't like a straight path and most people don't have it figured out, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Like I think the biggest thing for me is connecting and like having like helping teens and young adults understand and feel that other people like didn't do that straight path either, and it's okay, and most people don't, and it's okay to not know or have your life planned out. It's okay, and we're here to help you kind of try to figure it out and let you know that it's okay to take some time to chill and figure it out if you need to.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think one of the great things that Buck the Quo does is, because even before I started at Drake Cooper and before I got into advertising, I remember seeing Buck the Quo around Boise area and seeing the ads and everything. And, it caught my eye, and I did my own research and just seeing, obviously, I was a little past the point, I think, where it could have helped me, but I knew it was a good resource for anybody in family or friends who had someone who was kind of at that stage. And I knew that there's resources like that out there. And nowadays, networking, all these things, asking questions, especially with the internet and things like this. I mean, it's such an easy opportunity to really to do what you like. And the internships I've done have all just through basic networking and just talking to people and just saying, hey, I really like your company. Do you guys have any internships? They usually say, oh, we don't have anything formal, but we can definitely make something. So it's just getting out there and finding those connections. We had In Endos join. What's up? And Amanda
Yeah,
Adventure. What's going on?
Amanda's
Um,
my girl.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked to her in forever. I miss you. No, I wish that Buck the Quo would have been a thing in Arkansas whenever I was in high school or college, and I wish someone would have told me, hey, it's okay to take a year and figure out, or even just a semester to explore some things that you're interested in. And yeah, I wish Buck the Quo would have been around whenever I
I
was
agree.
young.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been nice to have too.
And
So
that reminds me, text BTQ to 208-208 if you want to chat with us, if you have questions about school or just finding your path or whatever. Yeah,
put
it
this in the
needs
comments.
to be related. We can't help solve like your girlfriend or boyfriend issues, but if you have questions or like are looking into planning a gap year to dive into some areas that you want to explore, text BTQ to 208-208 and we can help you figure out what that looks like or help you with next steps in your career or your education. Yeah.
Perfect.
BTQ to 208-208. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so a few more questions here, and hopefully someone will send some more questions in. But so we talked about this a little bit before, but what things have you learned along the way, life hacks or certain things to just really, whether it's keep you organized or just stay focused in life? Obviously, a lot of things happen in life. So, kind of think back to that time where you're kind of figuring out what you want to do or maybe transitioning into the marketing world. What were the things that you found most helpful?
I'm a big planner and I'm a big list maker. So like this, I mean, each day is, well, that one's not very long, but each
Yeah,
day is a list. I'm a very much write it down person. Even things at home, I make a list. So I'm very organized just by nature. But life hacks, um, don't I think multitasking is extremely overrated.
hmm
I I think there was a time like when multitasking was really cool and really valued, but I think being able to switch from one thing to another and give it your full attention is actually a more valued skill than multitasking. I try to give my attention 100% to whatever is in front of me or whatever I'm doing, and be fully engaged. And then when I need to switch to something else, do the same thing. So,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. That's a really good life hack to really hone in on. Joe knows nothing. 21 join. What's up?
Um,
Okay, so we touched on all the career stuff. What's just focusing in on your job here real quick, just in case anybody is curious about advertiser marketing. For all the new people who've joined, Jordan works with Drake Cooper in Boise, Idaho. It's a full service advertising agency. Well, we both work there. Uh, we'll get a question here from Priya. How do you both juggle tasks when you have multiple deadlines that are all priority? Ooh, really good question. Very specific.
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we work until 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes we work until 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh my God. That
Yeah.
was me last month. There were 2 nights in a week that I legit worked until 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not often. When I do that, I try to take, a couple afternoons off the next week and balance it out. But I'd say probably communication is key. Vijay and I communicate a lot. And yeah, we communicate a lot with our internal team. And if we realize that things are going to get pretty heavy as far as workflow goes, then we try to organize out like, timelines and who's going to take what. And if needed, then we work with our clients on, moving things up or pushing things out to where it's, a little bit more feasible to pull some things off. So I would say communication is the biggest thing there, and then just being flexible and, taking one for the team every now and then and getting it done.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think one of the things, it sounds really basic, but one of the things that's helped me is, a lot of things seem priority, and then there are the things that are actually priority that are due that day or whatever it is. So I always just make a list, honestly, of top 3 to 5 things that day that I know I have to do, or if I don't do, someone's going to be upset, especially in like advertising where you're kind of, you're answering to a client. So it sounds really basic, but really try to just make a list. Jordon just had hers. I have my notebook here. For whatever it is, you never know what you're going to come across, and each day just plan it out. It comes down to organization, I think, a lot too. So great question. Hopefully you guys all develop some way to manage multiple deadlines, because that in most jobs is going to be a very strong skill to have. So please keep sending questions. Jordon, do you, and Priya says absolutely agree. That's great advice and very helpful. Thank you both so much. Glad we could help. Did you have, along the whole way, starting from first job to now, I think this is really important to touch on. We kind of talked a little bit about reaching out for like internships and things like that, but did you have any strong mentors or people that helped guide you along the way, whether it's parents, a professor, or, a friend even, people that helped open doors for you? Because it's never wrong. I mean, one of the big points here I'm getting at is that it's okay to reach out to people and ask for help and open doors. So was there anybody or people for you in your life that did that?
My mom was fantastic in just pushing me and encouraging me to keep going when things are tough, and she still does. She's my mom. But yeah, Jill Weeks, which was, I call her my second mom. She is my mom's best friend. And she worked she has a pretty high position at the hospital in the college town that I went to. And I reached out to her when I applied for that medical records job. And I am pretty positive that she put in a good word for me because I got the job.
Right.
So yeah, reaching out and making those connections, and it seems daunting at the time, but it's totally worth it. I mean, what is there to be scared about? Like just asking someone for a recommendation or a hand or a letter or something. Like, I mean, what is there really to fear?
And most people I found in my case, they want to help. And they like helping. It's like you said, it's just asking. A couple of people joined Human Identity. What's up? And then Alyssa Lee, what's going on? Amanda Adventure asked a question. Many are looking for jobs right now. What are some tips to help stand out? This is a really good question because I recently starting with Dre Cooper had to kind of stand out. It's a very competitive place to get into. I think the biggest thing for me was obviously some of the obvious things, having a clean resume. Whether or not you have a lot of lines on that resume doesn't matter. Just obviously little things like grammatical errors, things like that, having a resume that stands out. And then I think the biggest thing is, if you get to that point where you have an opportunity to talk to the employer, really just focus in on things that are not so job related. They'll ask about those things. Have you ever used a program or a software or Excel? Really just connecting to them as a person and showing them that, hey, we're all in this together. I'd be a great addition to your team, and I'm a hard worker. It's some of those basic things that are outside of job skills.
Hard worker, team player, and can figure it out without like having to ask your supervisor, like content clues, like go do some research on your own. Like if you can show if you get to the interview stage, like that's your opportunity to just like give it all you got and let them know like exactly who you are. And yeah, I would say team player and good communication skills, and just yeah, can figure things out and get stuff done and help
Now,
you.
Jordon, does Buck the Quo have resources to help with that question, whether it's fine-tuning resumes or helping set up connections?
Yeah, buckthequo.com. There's tons of resources, videos. We have a job shadow playbook, like how to get yourself a job shadow or an internship. Like, I mean, there's a lot of places that probably don't have like technical internships or job shadow programs, but if you just reached out to them, they'd be totally willing to bring you on board, and maybe they'll pay you to do it. All you gotta do is ask. And I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They say no, okay, like move on to the next one.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of resources on buckthequo.com. Check it out.
Perfect. Yep. So hopefully that helps answer that question a bit.
Yeah.
So we talked about support. This is another big one. I know this is jumping a little ahead to when you're in a career field, but for those people who are in a career field, maybe thinking of change or, so last question. How do you deal with struggles in careers, conflicts that arise, and just the daily life grind, that ups and downs? What's your best tips and tricks for that?
Meditation.
Yeah.
Deep
breaths.
It's something that I've just kind of recently gotten into. But I swear to God, I will raise my kids to cry if they need to cry, to be angry if they need to be angry, to learn coping skills that are healthy. You know, standing up and bending over and touching my toes and taking 3 really deep breaths. That does it for me sometimes when I get overwhelmed or don't really know where to like focus my attention first. Just taking some deep breaths, or getting away from my computer for a few minutes, and maybe it's going outside and seeing the sunshine. But meditation has really changed my life. It was hard getting into it, and
Right.
You know, there are some days that I don't do it, but I try to at least do 10 to 15 minutes a day, and start my morning off there. And I can really tell a difference when I do. I am so much more chill during the day. I don't get really worked up. I'm able to stay a lot more organized. And I just feel a lot more connected to myself, and I feel more connected to my work. So yeah, meditation has like changed my life.
I think I need to get into that then. And then one last comment. Yeah, I need to. Priya says yes, she agrees. Meditation is the best.
Yeah, girl.
So everybody, we're nearing the end. This video will be saved obviously on our profile, so you can go back and watch. A lot of good things I think came up in this video. So Jordon, anything else? Anything else you want to say?
That's it. Life's tough. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah.
Take a minute to take a beat if you need it. It's a lot of pressure there's just a lot of pressure to perfect or figure it all out, and like just know that it's okay to not have it all figured out, and it's okay to take it and, you know, figure out what you want to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Cool. Well, we're going to sign off. Jordon, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who asked questions and showed up. I really appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye.